So what's going on, everyone? It is your boy Questex coming back at you once again with another video, and let's talk about Mr. Paul Whelan. Remember I did a video yesterday discussing this alleged victim, aka alleged spy for the American government in Russia that's allegedly detained. Well, more information is coming out about Mr. Paul Whelan. And the more that comes out, the more I'm convinced that this is all political theater, probably set up by our own government in working relation with the Russians. This just goes to show you how far down the rabbit hole we are in when it comes to Russiagate. It shows just how far the Russians have infiltrated us. Apparently, Mr. Paul Whelan, some juicy bit of details have come out about Mr. Paul Whelan just within the last 36 hours. You see, this is one of the reasons why I told people, my instincts were spot on. My instincts were, the radar was just up. This story screamed hoax. This story, it screams, okay, that there is something far devious afoot going on around the scenes, and I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna go into detail about it. So the first interesting thing is that apparently they're finding out. Breaking news is that Mr. Paul Whelan has a very interesting history with Russia, specifically the Kremlin. Which is ironic considering the fact that if he was a spy, most notable spies, and if you've read any thing on them, the key is to not be on the radar. Listen, each government knows that there are spies. Depending on your national security and your connections and your ability to spy on another spy will determine if you can identify said spies. Hence the whole Maria Butina situation, right? That was such a big thing. Nobody suspected her of being a spy for Russia, which is why she was able to get as far as she was able to get, right? Spies don't want to be known. But Mr. Paul Whelan, according to the Russian government, they have this incriminating information on him. Apparently he made his love affair for Russia quite known. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, he is in fact a Donald Trump supporter. There are several posts that were removed and taken down. I have some of them that I find also ironic because thanks to the excellent journalism by one of the writers in ABC, they went digging into Paul Whelan. You find out a couple juicy bit of details about Paul Whelan. The fact is that Paul Whelan it was initially reported Paul Whelan had only gone to Moscow, let's say a couple times, right? And then one time for this wedding. Well, it turns out that Paul Whelan, apparently on his original social media account, which was conspicuously taken down, he had a bit of an affinity for Russia. Went there a few times, posted pictures of him standing outside of the Kremlin, the actual building where Vladimir Putin did and does his business. Also, there were Facebook posts of Paul Whelan supporting Donald Trump. At one point, there's a post here where it's saying that God save Donald Trump. He's one of those, ladies and gentlemen. He's one of those Trump supporters. He said, God save Donald Trump. Yeah. Remember, there are levels to the stupidity of a Trump supporter. He hits all the way at the bottom of the barrel right then and there. He's one of those that God anointed Trumper. You ever talk to those Trumpers? Those religious nuts? Yes, he's one of those. Also, there was a post, right, which is interesting because on New Day, with Alison Camerado on CNN, now you guys, again, CNN has its problems. CNN does definitely have my issues with where they land on the political spectrum. But Alison Camerado talks to his brother, David Whelan, who is equally shady. David Whelan was talking about, is saying how his brother is not a spy, but yet his brother told him, because Alison Camerado asked him a clear question, right? Your brother told you that he worked in securities, right? Did he tell you anything else about what he was doing? Why was he going to Moscow multiple times? Because apparently CNN had gotten word of this reporting by this writer for ABC who had did a little digging into Paul Whelan. And the brother immediately gets defensive, says, oh, I don't know. It's like the equivalent to me being a baker and him working at Chuck E. Cheese. We don't really talk about anything else. Huh. This family is shady as fuck. And then Allison, the reporter for CNN, kind of had a look on her face like, okay, why are you getting a little bit defensive there, buddy? And then she hit him with the dagger. Apparently there was a post of him standing outside of CNN, calling it fake news, basically signaling to Donald Trump that he agrees with Donald Trump that CNN is fake news. Remember what I said to you guys? I said that I think that what this is, and I saw several of you guys who posted your reply and comments. Thank you so much. You are in agreement because you're using your heads. You guys see exactly what this story is. You guys see exactly what this is all about. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think that this is all set up. This is nothing more than a smokescreen story because, again, we know that there's this impending Mueller report that's getting ready to drop. There's this impending Mueller news that's supposedly it's going to be damaging to the Trump organization. Rudy Giuliani is threatening Robert Mueller now. I call it posturing because they want to seem like they're tough, and he's telling Mueller to show his hand or put up or shut up. All of these things are bubbling over. I think that this is nothing more than whatever. Okay, let me just say this. Whatever it is that's going to be devastating that everyone is talking about in Washington right now, that supposedly Mueller is going to drop some more information that's supposed to be like the beginning of the dagger entering in your proverbial side if you're a Trump supporter. I think this story was initialized and set up by Vladimir Putin and Trump. I think that there are too many coincidences. This guy would be a MAGA supporter. He's a Trump supporter, yet he went multiple times. They're finding out he's gone to Russia multiple times, taking pictures standing outside the Kremlin. His God Save Trump post, his CNN fake news, right? He's also, and I want to leave the biggest, juiciest part for you guys. Turns out this reporter who was digging in, this journalist from ABC, discovered that he was dishonorably discharged from the military for larceny. He is a scathing, shady individual. I don't trust it. I didn't trust the story from the jump. Thank you to all my supporters who backed me, who knew. You guys know that I use my head when it comes to these things. There were too many coincidences. This seems like this is just set up as cannon fodder for whatever story is going to drop. Trump will try to come in and act as if he's the hero to divert attention, okay, from this bombshell of drawing a connection between him directly and Vladimir Putin. And he'll try to say, listen, no, it's not true, because look, I'm working to hurry up and get our people from Russia. No, it's not that. It's just, Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And this should tell everybody just how deep the rabbit hole goes. For them to orchestrate a story like this, clearly, because again, and then too, on this front, right, which is really interesting. I mean, this is one more thing before I go, which is interesting and I found ironic. They initially, okay, the initial reports, remember they said that he was an identical twin brother? Turns out he's not an identical twin brother. He doesn't have an identical twin brother. So what was all these reports initially yesterday and the day before yesterday claiming that he was an identical twin brother? Everything about the story is starting to fall apart because people are digging into the story. I'm going to be honest with you. I would be hard pressed. I wonder if Paul Whelan even is detained in Russia. Just being honest, guys. I said it in the first initial post that is it a hoax? You got guys who run around like Alex Jones who called those unfortunate killings of multiple children, right? You got these extreme right wingers who have no problem talking about conspiracy theories and talking about gay frogs and all types of weird shit. You got that QAnon group, who's another weirdo Trump supporting group. You got all these people that sit there, oh no, that shooting never happened, even though you literally see children's dead bodies, you literally see funerals, you literally see that these children and these people suffered, and you have these right-wing conservatives who always want to scream, oh, it was a hoax, it was a liberal hoax, it was a liberal hoax. Well, I'm calling this one a conservative hoax. This is clearly this is a made-up story. You want to talk about fake news? This is fake news, okay? And the problem is with this situation is that this alleged victim and Paul Whelan, he's starting from a character standpoint to really seem like an unsympathetic individual. Like, you can't empathize with him. And the thing is about it is, if you knew, okay, that, again, like I said, just connect the dots, people. He's an ex-Marine. He would have clearly known protocol going to Russia. He had been there multiple times and didn't have any issues. And then now, all of a sudden, he got detained. Going to a freaking wedding. A wedding, ladies and gentlemen. Not business. Not vacation. He went for a wedding. The story screams hoax. The story screams some made-up shit, okay? Probably in coordination with the Trump organization and Vladimir Putin to help divert news when they need to. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. It's your boy QuestX. Do I know how to call it or do I know how to call it? And I'm out.